The generator yields back. The chair now recognizes the generator from Florida, Ms. Castor, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, you leave quite a legacy here in Congress and back in your home community. And I know you're not done yet. And thank you to our witnesses, Chairman Glick, and to Deputy Secretary Turk for being here. You know that the deadly Texas freeze last February demonstrated how important it is that we weatherize our existing infrastructure and do everything we can to blunt the higher costs and risks fueled by the climate crisis. Now, this Congress has acted on several strategies to lower the cost for consumers and businesses and make the grid more reliable, especially upgrading and expanding our electric grid, investing in energy efficiency, conservation, distributed clean energy resources, and clean backup storage. And today we're focused on the pipeline infrastructure angle here and the reliability standards. Now there's an untold story that a lot of people don't know, but there was an article in the Texas Monthly that I believe it came out just recently, that the gas industry received $11 billion in windfall profits from the Texas freeze. Without reliability standards, the gas industry will continue to reap windfall profits while leaving customers out in the cold. And it's not just Texans that are impacted. The gas spot price went up 30-fold in Southern California. Minnesotans had to pay an extra $800 million. So Chairman Glick, tell us more about the cost of consumers in other parts of the country having to cover the cost because of the failure of the Texas grid and the gas wells.
I appreciate the question, Ms. Castor, and in fact, I recently read that article as well. And I would say that that's, if we're talking about impact on consumer bills, the bill increases we've seen as a result of what happened in Texas and surrounding states last winter, by many folds, we're talking about much higher increases than the other rate issues that we've been talking about today. And in large part, it was because of simple supply and demand. Gas production facilities, Texas supplies a lot of natural gas around the country. Gas supply facilities in Texas froze. Many of them froze. Many of them became inoperable, as did the processing stations. And so there wasn't enough gas to go around. So what gas was left, both in Texas and elsewhere, the prices jumped dramatically. And you mentioned some of the, we're talking 800%, 700%. Different states had significant, enormous rate increases. So the benefit of, I think, of the bill that we're talking about today, or the concept of ensuring the reliability of the gas infrastructure, if that gas infrastructure was more reliable and the facilities didn't freeze and they didn't get cut off from electricity supply, we would have seen rate increases would have been much smaller, only basically due to the fact that it was cold and there was more demand for gas because of that. And so I think this is not only an important perspective from reliability and in certain terms of making sure that people's lives are protected, which is obviously the most important, but it's also in terms of the pocketbook. And this legislation, I think, or the idea behind this legislation, will help promote what I believe will keep energy prices, both electricity and natural gas prices, much lower if we have a more reliable natural gas pipeline system.
I agree. Deputy Secretary Turk, would you like to add your views?
Yeah, happy to, and thanks, Chairwoman, for all your leadership in the Climate Committee in particular and all else. So I think you're absolutely right to focus on the costs of climate change to American consumers. $145 billion last year is one estimate from extreme weather exacerbated or caused by climate change. So we need to look at all of our tools to make sure there's not manipulation in the market and to assure affordability, including on heating for those consumers who are having challenges. And the price of gas at the pump right now is too high. We think it's too high. This administration thinks it's too high. That's why we're doing the kinds of things we're doing. We've got $4.5 billion in LIHEAP. Congress appropriated $21.5 in emergency rental assistance that's going to help pay energy bills along those lines. We've gotten 14 utility companies to avoid shutoffs for those consumers who are having challenges during this COVID crisis. So we absolutely have to keep our eye on that affordability affordability issue.
Yeah, and I think Chairman Rush's Energy Product Reliability Act fills that very important gap, whether we're talking about cybersecurity or we're talking about the rising costs and risk fueled by the climate crisis. So thank you very much, and I yield back.